on this journey my whole life because it started with my name, Talitha Cumi, which literally means little girl, wake up. And I can't say it's been easy. There's been a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. But I believe life is all in your decision making. The I Am Talitha Cumi show is a combination of things that I love to talk about. And I want to enlighten you, encourage you, and inspire you to be the best you can be with some help from my guest. Let's talk about it.
And we are live here at the Botham Jean Foundation Gala event, you guys.
I feel like there are so many people, like you said, that are in pain from stress or whatever it is, and we're going to the doctor. They're giving us this medication. This medication sometimes is making us worse. Sometimes the medication is not working. Sometimes the medication has so many side effects.
So is there anything that I left?
No, other than my name is pronounced Georgia Nay.
Georgia, I was pronouncing that all wrong. Georgia Nay. My bad. I hate when people pronounce my name wrong too.
Tappity Kuma.
Thanks for joining us and welcome to the I Am Talitha Cumi show. I am your host, Kay with the G, here on this second Friday night of the month. And remember, with what it is and what it ain't. And remember, you can catch us here every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. on our Food for the Soul Media Group Facebook page and on Vegas Hype Media's Facebook page and YouTube station and the Mixler app. For those of you who may just want to listen to us live, I want to give a shout out to Quan on the ones and twos who helps keeps us looking and sounding right. So our disclaimer, as always, these are our opinions, not fact, and some of the opinions of our guests are not always the opinions of the I Am Talitha Cumi show, Food for the Soul Media Group, or Vegas Hype Media. And if you want to weigh in, leave us a comment in the chat room on YouTube or in the comments on our Facebook page. And if you're tuning in on Facebook, please follow us and like our page and share it. If you're watching us live on Vegas Hype Media, a YouTube station, don't forget to go to our Food for the Soul Media Group YouTube station right now. Like and subscribe. Press that button for me and go to our Instagram pages and follow us on Food for the Soul Media Group at I Am Talitha Cumi. I Am Talitha _Cumi, and follow me at K2 Unique. Also, we're looking for sponsors and donors to help keep our show a priority and bringing you great news. We want to bring you great news, good discussions, and great guests, and we need you. So if you're looking to be a guest or promote your business with us, go to the Food for the Soul Presents at gmail.com, or you can inbox us. So I am your host, Kay with the G. I'm so happy to be here tonight. I am a career coach, a counselor. I work with at-risk youth in our community, working with subsidized programs. My purpose here on this earth is to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to enjoy a good life. I love giving back to my community. I love working with people that are less fortunate because we cannot keep what we have unless we give it away. I don't know how many times that I have sacrificed and given the last that I have in order to make sure that someone is able to achieve their goals. So that's a little bit about me, but I want to introduce my guest for the evening. His name is Dr. Keith Fairclough.
Fairclough.
Yes. Dr. Keith Fairclough. So a little bit about Dr. Keith Fairclough. He is a therapist who provides counseling, coaching, supervision, and mentoring through his private practice, Freedom Change Success LLC. He is also the CEO of his own publishing company named Perry Publishing. That's impressive. In addition to his education, he engages in motivation, transformational and creative writing, His collection of work includes various poems, original songs, stories, and motivational biblical studies. I love it. I love it. And in 2020, he published his first book, The Crumpet Heart. Haven't had a chance to read it, but it says here that it's a story about how treating people can affect their heart, feelings. And in 2023, he published his second book, I Love Me. Yeah, a story about the importance of self-love and how to acquire it. He also creates social media content through his FCS Prep podcast to motivate others and help them with self-improvement and mindset change. He also volunteers his time with Real Talk Youth Impact Program. That sounds like something that's very near and dear to my heart. When you are impacting youth, you are doing what you're supposed to do because our youth are the future.
That's the truth.
Right. So through this Real Talk Youth Impact Program, he provides mentorship, therapeutic guidance, program development, and consulting. And he is a firm believer in God. And that's where my G comes from. K with the G. Yes. Self-improvement, self-empowerment, working with excellence and hope. His values guide him, and these values are the foundation from which his inspiration to write, educate, and inspires others flows. His life goal is to help people change their mindsets to improve the quality of their lives and relationships. So, welcome to the show, Mr. Dr. Fairclough. But first, before we even get into the show, I want to talk about the UNLV shooting.
Yes.
Give a moment of silence for those that lost their lives. That was a horrible situation, and I want to know what you're feeling on everything that we know right now and how everything transpired. And as my audience, I want to know what do you think? What's going on in our schools? Why do you think it's so easy for these shooters to go into schools, and why are they targeting schools?
So, first and foremost, I just thoughts and prayers out to those and their families who've lost loved ones in that shooting. I can't imagine what it would be like to have lost a loved one that you see them off that morning, then something like this happens. So, thoughts and prayers to them first and foremost. From what we know about the shooter, the fact that he was someone who, applied for a job there and then got turned down and then got angry and came back. The first thing that came to my mind was that was the straw that broke the camel's back, but that was not where it started. This is not someone who just lost it in a moment. This is something that's been building up in this person for an extended period of time. My only thought about that is that he had no one to go to. He had no one to open up to. He had no one to share his thoughts and feelings with. He must have taken that rejection as a personal rejection, that they weren't saying that he wasn't qualified for the job, but more so, and again, this is all my opinion, my thought. But he said it seemed like they were saying, you're rejected. We don't want you. It has nothing to do with whether you're qualified, and we just don't want you. And I can only imagine a life of someone always hearing that, like, you're not good enough, or, we don't want you, or we don't want you around, or things of that nature, and not being able to express that and work through that and process that. I can only imagine, the buildup that would come with that. Unfortunately, it led to this. But again, like I said, this is just my thought. I don't know the guy. I don't know what he's been through, but I can only imagine.
That's why what you do is so important. Maybe if he would have read your book, I Love Me, got some insight on who he is, and things like this may not have happened,
Yeah.
So after this shooting, studies show this year compared to the same point in the past years, as of December the 6th, there have been 80 school shootings in the United States in 2023. Annual school shootings, like since 2008 there were 18. 2009 there were 22. 2010 there were 13. 2011 there were 15. 2012 there were 13. 26 in 2013. 36 in 2014, 37 in 2015, 51 in 2016, 42 in 2017, 44 in 2018, 22 in 2020, and that was probably because of COVID.
Yeah.
73 in 2021, 79 in 2022. There have been 80 in 2023. What are your thoughts?
We have that much time, something has to break inside somebody to get to the point where you want to take out that pain, that anger, that frustration, that hurt. You want to take it on other people indiscriminately. So we're talking about schools, but like even outside of schools, I know we didn't even touch on that, but to just think about that. How bad down does someone have to be to get to the point where they say, I want to take my anger and frustration out on anybody and everybody? And I don't want to say obviously I clearly don't agree with anyone doing that, right? Absolutely not. Get help. If you need help, get help. But there are taboos in this society where it's not safe to open up and share. It's not open up to be yourself. You have to toe whatever line it is, whether it's cultural, whether it's spiritual, whether it's political, and especially for men, like you're not allowed to open up and share how you feel and you're just not, so what's the other option, right? There's only two options at that point, right? You either express it violently, outwardly, or inwardly, and I would dare say even you look at like suicide rates and what those must look like, but to get to the point where you're in so much pain and so much hurt that you feel you need to take it out on yourself and other people, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. And I don't want to say it's a mental health crisis. What I think it is, I would say a love crisis,
Right. Well, this month's theme is moving forward. That's our theme for this month. And our topic tonight is restoring the balance. So, as we talk about restoring balance and moving forward, do you have an idea of what that even looks like?
Ooh, yeah. I would say using my modality, right? Restoring balance and moving forward has to come through unconditional love, right? Feeling that we love ourselves and that we're receiving love from other people and able to give love to other people, forgiving ourselves. That's part of that process. Taking personal responsibility, right? And I'm not talking about blame or whatnot. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about taking power back over our life and having the understanding that when we know that we can control two things, right? One, what we think, and two, what we do and how we respond to others, right? When you understand that, how powerful that is, that means you can really change the course of your life at any point in time at the drop of a hat. And then with excellence, giving your absolute best in a thing, when you put all these things together, not only will you restore balance, but it'll help you to, slingshot forward in a great way, because then you realize that all the things in this life and the people that try to hold you down and the systems, because let's just be real, there are systems out there that try to hold people down. There are other people that try to hold you down. There are things in place that try to hold us down. But when you realize that all you have to do is make a choice, right? And that you have the power to overcome any obstacle in anything that might be in your path, not only will you restore balance, but it's going to take you in a whole nother direction in your life, wherever you want it to take you.
And speaking of that, that's going to bring me to a subject that is so near and dear to my heart. I think I spoke on it earlier, recidivism.
Yeah.
So I want to give a definition of what recidivism is, because whenever I start to talk about recidivism prevention, people are like, well, what is that? And that brings awareness to me that people aren't being educated, because there are some things that they don't want you to know about. And recidivism prevention is one of them.
Yeah.
So recidivism is a term used in criminal justice that refers to a person's tendency to relapse into a previous condition or mode of behavior, especially relapse into criminal behavior. And the term comes from a Latin word called recidivus, which means to relapse into sin or crime. Recidivism is often measured by criminal acts that result in rearrest, reconviction, or return to prison. So basically, it's repeat offenders.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about recidivism and what that looks like here in Las Vegas. Do you believe that these people that are re-entering society are really given the tools to make a brand new start and move forward?
I think it's kind of a mixed bag. It really depends on who they link up with. I've heard stories of, some probation officers that, they really give the people that are over a really, really hard time. These people who've come out, they're trying to start their life over. They give them a really, really hard time, almost to the point where it's like, I don't want to say they don't treat them like they're human, It's like either you do what we say to do and that's it, So, but then you also have some others who really do go out of their way to give these I want to get a good term with it, to give these young men and women, right? These men and women, to give them an opportunity and a chance at a new life,
Give
right?
them the tools that they need to be successful.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they're not giving the tools. Because if you were giving someone the correct tools that they need, then the recidivism rate would significantly decrease. But I did some research and the funny thing is that you would think African Americans have the highest percentage of recidivism prevention, but it's not us. It's Native Americans, Alaska Natives. They face the highest levels of recidivism at 79%.
Whoa.
But they are 1% of the population. Black prisoners have the highest recidivism rate of 74% and over 5 years, and are about 40% of the total prisoners.
Wow.
So that blows my mind. And when they're coming back into society, it just makes me wonder, do you believe it helps people to make those amends, to want to do right, like with people, that they wronged, or to truly move forward?
I think it does make a difference, and that's kind of part of that that unconditional love, because you have to think sometimes that, people who go to jail, right, the things that they went to jail for did affect someone's life in a negative way, right? Impacted families in a negative way, sometimes did irreparable damage. So I think the first step is to, for one, forgive yourself and realize that, hey, I made a mistake, a bad mistake, but forgive yourself, and then go and, take responsibility for whatever it is. If you can make amends, make amends. I think that's a big part of moving forward, right? Because it's very difficult to move forward when you have all this other stuff kind of sticking in your heart and sticking in your mind. It's very difficult to move forward. So once you've made peace with that and you've done your best to, reconcile with other people and fix your mistakes and give back, then it's time to then take responsibility and realize, okay, this is where I am in my life, and I have the power to choose and do something different, and then really start giving back to my community. All right. Maybe I gave the first part of my life to, turn my community down, but now I can give it to building it up. And there's so much to be said in that, the fact that someone can turn their life around like that in a very positive way.
So touching back on my previous question, what does recidivism look like here in Vegas? I don't think that all the tools that are available are being used. There are bonds that can be granted for at-risk job seekers, people that have barriers to employment. There are housing issues that exist because of their backgrounds. These people have the need for coaching, mentoring, and
Yes.
I see that there are so many groups here in Las Vegas. Tell me a little bit about what the organization that you partner with, what do they do to give back, to make sure that these people get what they need?
So I know the founder of Real Talk, Cherie Cornell, she goes to the halfway house to speak with the inmates and to not inmates, but to speak with the men and women who have come out of jail, of prison.
The re-entering citizens.
The re-entering citizens.
Yes.
Thank you. I was looking for a word. Thank you. She goes and speaks to them, and she gives them opportunity to give back, right? So the Real Talk Youth Impact Program is a program that has ex-felons come and speak with kids who potentially are at risk, or possibly, or just in the community, but to help keep them on the right path. And so what she does is she'll go to the halfway house. She'll work with that organization and give them the opportunity to give back, right? So then it gives them purpose, right? A lot of them keep coming back and have been coming back for 10, 15 years because they're so passionate about giving back and changing lives, and that's what they're doing. And it's so important to have that purpose as well. When you have a purpose, oh man, like what can't you do, right?
That's right. And I think that has a lot to do with the reason why a lot of people are repeat offenders, because when everyone makes mistakes, there's not one person that's walking, living, breathing on this earth that has not made a mistake.
Yeah.
And some of them have done heinous things. They just have not got caught.
That's the truth.
They have been so quick to pass judgment on people who have openly made mistakes and said, yes, I'm guilty, I've done this, and I want to get my life back together. And then they put them into an institution or put them into a program that's not giving them anything to be successful. It's just taking them back and pulling their self-worth. That's why I feel that mentoring is important, and finding someone, they're so quick to send you to an AA meeting or an NA meeting and go to a meeting, but you're just surrounding yourself by other people who are succumbed to their downfalls. When what you need is to be around, people that are better than you, that can inspire you, that aren't going to look down on you, but they're going to give you some resources and some tools to make you grow.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about that because I know that it works. I know that you can overcome any obstacle that is put before you. And I just feel that there are some tools that can help these people overcome their barriers that aren't being utilized to the fullest. For instance, like as I mentioned earlier, the bonds. There are federal bonds. There are WOTC tax credits that businesses can write off and get money back every year for hiring at-risk candidates or people that have barriers or background issues. There's money out there for them. There's housing. They're building all these low income houses. Why don't they use that money use the grant money that's available to put some of these people in those houses and give them a probationary period? You have to give people a chance, but it's not going to become an issue until it becomes an issue with public safety. And when I say an issue with public safety, you look around our community right now and you look at all the homeless people, all the crime that's occurring, and you think about how many of those people that are homeless, that are sleeping on our streets, are repeat offenders. That, maybe they're running from one state to the next, but they have nothing to lose. And that's the whole issue. We have to give them something to live for. If you don't give people something to live for, then, my grandmother used to say, you have to stand for something or you're going to fall for anything.
That's the truth.
And that is the truth.
Yeah.
So, with what you do, like, do you get satisfied? Tell me about the level of success that you've had personally with helping someone.
Oh man. Gosh. It's being able to see someone go from, struggling with their emotions and struggling, just trying to keep it together, to see them now have a clear mind, a clear goal, a clear path. It's, I don't think there's anything like it, to tell you the honest truth. At least in my opinion, I've worked with someone who went from being homeless at 18 on his 18th birthday to having his own place, being a manager of like a phone store, being able to manage himself, getting ready to go to school, like seeing those transformations, seeing, people go from broken and low self-esteem and hurting to powerful and effective and, and just changing so many different things. Like it's amazing. It's amazing. I will say, because I've worked with a lot of people, a lot of, kids, adults or whatnot and everything in between, so the main thing that needs to be remembered is that you have to want to change. You have to want something different. You want to want better. Because I've also worked with people who, they said they wanted better, but they weren't really willing to put in any of the effort to do so. And because they didn't, they weren't able to get ahead even when they did have the resources and things that they needed. And you can't force anybody to want it either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And as an author,
Mm-hmm.
and as someone who has a focus on self-help,
Mm-hmm.
and with this being with our topic this month, making amends.
Yeah.
The first person that you have to make amends with when you're in a situation like that is yourself.
Yes.
You have to be
Yes.
able to say, I forgive you. I love you. I know that you have to encourage yourself.
Yes.
And if there was a class that I could teach to, if there was a class that I could teach, I think that is what it would be. Not so much as to look for outside resources, but
Mhm.
look within yourself. Love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Apologize to yourself sincerely for all the damage that you've done and move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, because life is so wonderful, and we all make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. There is not one. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
one who can say that he has not sinned. Just like when they were judging the woman with the issue.
Yep.
And no, the woman that they said that was the adulterer.
They pulled her out.
Yeah,
wanted
they
to
pulled
stone
her. They wanted to
Yep.
stone her. And Jesus said, let he who is sinless cast the first stone.
Yep.
And they all dropped their stones and walked away.
Yeah.
That's the world today.
That's it right
Everybody
there.
needs to drop their stones and just walk away and
s-
do what it is that they can do to help the next person.
And I'll say this real quick, just off of that. And that's one of the issues we have in society today, right? Everybody is throwing stones because they think they're perfect, right? My sin isn't as bad as your sin. But in the end, no, you're flawed. You make mistakes. And like you said earlier, just because they haven't been put on Front Street doesn't mean that you haven't made mistakes. I know for me, that's one of the big things for me. Like I'm no better than any of my clients coming through. I'm no better than anybody I work with. I'm no better than anyone who's re-entering society. I'm not. I've made mistakes. Maybe mine haven't been put out there like everybody else's, but God knows I made mistakes. And literally he knows I made mistakes. So all I have to offer people is love and grace, and to help you get to where you want to be.
That's right. Because grace is sufficient.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Grace is sufficient. So with that, we are going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to speak more with Dr. Keith Fairclough. And my special spotlight artist is in the building.
All right.
All right.
I'm like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. He would be so busy with church, so busy with helping other people, he would shoo me off the phone. I wasn't close to my dad. I wasn't close to my brothers and sisters.
I was young, my first marriage, had a child, and it wasn't going right. And I was turning to a person that I know that I'm not, very, very aggressive and angry. I was depressed, and I knew that I had to get out of that situation. Picked up the phone one day, and all I said was, like, Dad, can I come home? He didn't ask why. He just said, sure, son. And that was it.
The issues that I believe me and my brother had was he did not seem to have time for her. That was our riff. I would call and say, hey, you promised that you were going to help me with XYZ. I need some help. And he would always promise to help. Sometimes the promise came through. Most of the times the promise did not.
And we are back. So if you just joined us, thank you for tuning in to the I Am Talitha Cumi show on Food for the Soul Media Group and Vegas Hike Media. I'm K with a G, and we're discussing restoring the balance. And we've also been joined by our spotlight artist, Miss Janique Nina. Now let me formally, is it formally? Formally. Let me formally. I do know how to speak proper English. Let me formally introduce Miss Janique Nina.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Nina is the lovely living embodiment of the yin and yang as they cycle through the music universe. As a giver, she has graced the world with lush, soulful, and heartfelt love songs in every flavor. And as a radio host, she is graciously showcasing the music of others on her Love Janique Nina radio platform. Janique Nina was nominated for the Black Music Awards Las Vegas in the categories of Best Female Jazz Artist, Best Vocalist, Best Live Performer, and Entertainer of the Year. In addition, Janique has just received an Academia Music Award in 3 different categories for her self-written songs, Thank You for the Way You Love Me, Bad Habit, yes, and This Is the Life featuring Ricardo Love and Fat Cash. So during the pandemic, Janique released the 25-song anthology mixtape Audio Portrait of Love. The collection represents Janique's personal favorite songs from her song catalogs. She also created her own broadcast platform, Love Janique Nina Radio, and streaming internet radio station presenting recordings of the finest in jazz, smooth jazz, which gets me through my day. Yes, it does. Smooth R&B soul, 70s easy rock, spoken word, gospel, dance, and funk as performed by great artists from all over the world as she opens her studio to artists where she interviews them on air and features them playing and singing in intimate live settings. She's also known for her phenomenal Sade tribute. If I tell you, if I tell you now. Janique is ever on a mission to turn hearts and minds to the true spirits of impassioned romance, scorching sensuality, and unconditional love. And we need more of that. So, with your extensive body work of music, where or how do you get the inspiration to write your music?
Mostly all of my music is written from true experience in my life. It's very authentic, usually.
So as we've been discussing,
Yes.
restoring balance.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about this month, restoring balance. Have you ever had to apologize for something that you did to someone, or have you been in a situation where someone wronged you and you had to apologize? I'm talking like something major.
Yes. And it just happened recently. I was on this roll, like doing shows in Vegas, and I'm rather new here in Vegas. And I was doing shows at this place called the Gatsby inside the Gambit in Henderson. And I was doing shows there like every couple months for about a year, working with a band that I always work with and singers that I always work with. And I usually always try to feature a couple singers. Last time I featured 3 singers that would come on and sing a couple songs lead, because I love to help independent artists. I know the struggle and I love to help independent artists. And so at the end of this particular show, this was my birthday show this year in July. And I just want to talk about this situation because I know it happens to musicians sometimes and artists sometimes, and I'm not scared. I want to talk about it since you asked. And so at the end of the night, I was ready to pay everyone, right? I've got money in my account. I'm ready to pay everyone, which is what I was doing. You know, I produce my own shows most of the time. I pay for everything. You know, I pay everyone, blah, blah, blah. I'm an employer in that regard, right? So my MD was like, oh, you know, well, actually, my personal manager, she was like, don't worry about it. You know, we'll take care of it tomorrow. And so I was like, well, okay. I mean, I wasn't really okay with that because I just wanted to take care of it and get it taken care of. But I said, okay. And so the next day rolled around and all of the money in my account had vanished by the morning because there was this someone had stolen money out of my account, and it was like a foreign transaction, which made it extremely complicated to get my money back. And so I then had to tell everyone, I'm so sorry, but I cannot pay you. And, you know, had to live the next several months with like pennies and dimes, trying to figure out how I'm going to take care of everything.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And
These scammers are real.
Scammers are real.
They are real.
Scammers are real. And
Yes.
and it just made me feel horrible because I really horrible because I'm truly a person of integrity. And I would never do that to anyone. And you know, I was feeling so horrible about it, but as time went on, in a way it was a blessing because it really showed me like who were really my friends and who were not. And it's funny how money can separate you from people so quickly because you know, and it's happened to me in the past before too, like, you know, a large sum of money was supposed to come to me through friends and, you know, never came to me because they just never gave it to me, you know, that kind of thing. But anyway, it showed me like who was really my friend, who was really not my friend. So in that regard, it was a blessing.
So that's the way it happens.
Yeah, but
that's typically the way it happens.
I had to apologize to everyone and, you know, go for months, like really super struggling.
But
And
you had to forgive too.
yes.
Because you
course.
learned people hurt. That hurts.
Yes.
That
yes.
hurts when you trust someone to trust you.
Right.
Yeah.
They
Right.
claim that they support you.
Right.
And something like that happens, and the
Yeah.
first thing that they do is
retract.
yes. So, why do you think God tells us to forgive, Dr. Keith? And what would you say, Janique, to someone who is having trouble forgiving?
Go ahead.
I would say the reason why God says to forgive, I won't even say I would say, it's because if you don't, you know, you're going to be trapped with that forever. You know, you're not going to be able to move forward. You know, I've heard it put like this, you know, holding on to unforgiveness is like drinking poison, expecting your enemy or the other person to die and get sick from it. And that's what happens. If you don't forgive, only what happens is that bitterness grows in your heart. It begins to twist and warp how you act and how you feel and what you think, and makes you not trust anyone. It becomes worse and worse. It eats you alive from the inside. And so God knows he doesn't want that. We really know we don't want that. So we need to forgive. And I think the biggest thing about that, people are like, well, I'm not going to forgive them because, they did wrong and they didn't come back. It's not for them. We don't forgive for the other person. We forgive for ourselves.
That's
it
right.
allows us to let go and move on and move forward, restoring the balance. So that's why I think it's important for us to forgive, and why I think God wants us to forgive, because he doesn't want that burden to sit on us for our entire life.
Mm-hmm. And Janique, you are the yin and the yang. That is going to throw off that balance, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We must forgive in order to continue to be in alignment with God and what he has for us. And, as hard as it may be, that is so crucially important to forgive, whatever it may be. And sometimes it may take some time because the situation could be very extreme. But when you don't forgive and you're just holding on to that hatred or whatever it is you're feeling, it's blocking you, actually. It's blocking your blessings. It's blocking you in many ways that you don't even realize. So it is very critically important to forgive.
Exactly. I believe that. As hard as it is sometimes to forgive some people, you really have to work on that, because people do horrible things to one another, especially in this day and time. And they said that in the end days, men will become lovers of themselves.
And look at where we're at. The age of social media. Me, 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 me.
Me, I.
Yes.
Like.
Yes.
So, thank you so much. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank
so
you.
what I'd like to know is what either of you have coming up and how we can follow you. So, Dr. Keith, what do you have coming up?
Well, I have a new podcast, not a new podcast, but I have another one coming out, another episode coming out maybe within the next week or so, discussing unconditional love and relationships and why unconditional love is critical for relationships. So you can stay tuned to that. And I'm also working on getting out my new card game that I created called Speak, which helps couples to learn how to communicate with one another, because I'm a firm believer that unconditional love is communicated through proper communication, right? When you can hear, validate, and understand somebody, they feel loved, and you see that across the board, not even just relationships, across the board. So those are the two biggest things I have coming out in the next few weeks.
And how can we reach you? Like, if someone wanted to follow you or listen to your podcast, how do we get in? How do we follow Dr. Keith?
Listen, I've been telling people for a long time, I'm not hard to find. I'm not someone who's hiding. You can
because I looked you up online and you were right there.
You can catch me on Facebook. You can catch me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Usually it's fcs.llc. For YouTube, it's Freedom Change Success LLC. But if you just search my name online, Keith Fairclough Jr., I should pop up. You'll see images, you'll see videos, you'll see everything. And if you get to one, you'll get to all.
And that's Fairclough, FAirClough.
Yes, that is correct.
Exactly. All right. And Janique, what about you? What do you have coming up?
Well, let's see. Several things. December 23rd, I will be performing in a show called Soul Christmas at Arizona Charlie's here in Las Vegas on Decatur, the one that's on Decatur. And that is produced by the absolutely amazing Pete Peterkin. And several amazing artists are in that show. I'm really excited about that. And then December 29th, I will be emceeing and also performing in an event called the Funky Get Down.
Hey.
Kev Love and King James Brown's Funky Get Down. So that'll be at Kev Love's. And I
went to his birthday party. Well, I was there, but he didn't show up till late. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I will also be portraying Diana Ross in a musical production in California, and I don't know the venues yet, but it's at the end of December, and all of that information will be on my website. which is lovejaniquenina.com. And my name is spelled Jacnique, Nina, Nina. So lovejaniquenina.com. And I'm on social media out there everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, all that stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you both for coming tonight. So as we close out the show, please keep in mind that we are looking for positive artists. We would like to have a live feature performance to end the show every week. So if you are a Christian artist or secular artist, but we just need music with some substance and some positivity. And if you're interested, you can email us at foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com for more info. And you could be our next guest. And now here is Janique Nina with Thank You for the Way You Love Me.
Oh, yeah, whoa, ooh, ooh, hey, ooh, hey, ooh, hey. Have you ever lost yourself running and running, trying to please someone else? Soon you'll find mirror reflex. You can hardly recognize what's left of yourself. I used to cry every night, weary and worn down, trying to fight the good fight. Then one day you came into my life, speaking my language, helped me set things right. Thank you for the way. Thank you. Thank you for the way. Thank you. Thank you for the way you love me. Thank you for the way. Thank you, baby. Thank you for the way. Thank you, baby. Thank you for the way you love me. I wake up now and I wanna sing. Baby, I'm so grateful for everything you bring. Honor, respect, chivalry. Ooh, you're such a gentleman, always finding a way to please me. You stepped right in, didn't miss a beat. Mended my broken heart, picked up the pieces of me. Your smile like sunshine, kisses so sweet. Your touch so soothing, conversation so deep. Thank you for the way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the way. Thank you. Thank you for the way you love me. Thank you for the way. Thank you, baby. Thank you for the way. Thank you, baby. Thank you for the way you love me. Ricardo Love on guitar, who produced this track.
All right. That was amazing. Thank you for the way. I love it.
Boy, Janique, you killed that.
You killed it. We love it. All right. Well, we want to thank everyone for tuning in to the I Am Talitha Cumi show. And you guys, anything you want to add?
Be a safe place for somebody. I think that's probably the only thing I would have to say. Make sure you're not judgmental. Whatever someone's going through, hear them out, listen. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to tell them what they need to do. Just listen. Be a safe person, because you never know what someone else might be going through and what you listening could do to help that person.
Awesome. And Janique?
It was an excellent, wonderful statement. And I just want to add that, it takes so much more energy to be evil and hateful to someone than it does to just be kind and considerate and respect.
Awesome.
And I just want to say, please, please, please spread love. Can we all just love each other more?
That's right. Well, make sure you tune in every Friday to the I Am Talitha Cumi show at 7:30 p.m. on our Facebook page and YouTube station, Food for the Soul Media Group or Vegas Hype Media. And tell your friends to tune in. Catch the Rewind show every Wednesday, same time, 7:30 p.m. on our YouTube station. And don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. Food for the Soul Media Group, I Am Talitha Cumi, and K, the number 2, Unique. Also, make sure you catch me every second Friday. I'm here every second Friday and I'm loving it. I'm every second Friday of the month with my segment, What It Is and What It Ain't. And tune in next week for Solid Truth with her new segment, The Double Take. Solid is going to be presenting you with some subjects that are going to be near and dear to your heart, just like I'm trying to do over here myself. So our show tonight has been sponsored in part by Orla Worldwide, Big Bobby B Beats, Eccentric Soul Films, K Griffiths LLC, Solid Truth LLC, Dr. Keith Fairclough, and Freedom Change Success, and Janique Nina Music. This has been a great show, and I truly appreciate both of you joining us tonight. Thank you. Have a good weekend, and happy holidays.